You're facing down a chaos sorcerer whose mere presence can drive men insane, and he unleashes a blast of pure warp energy that instantly vaporizes your entire squad. Everyone around you is reduced to ash in seconds, but somehow, impossibly, you're still standing. This actually happened to Captain Titus of the Ultramarines, and it's just the beginning of a story that defies everything we know about human endurance. Today we're diving deep into the science behind one of Warhammer 40K's most mysterious characters, exploring battles that should have been mathematically impossible to survive, and what we uncover will absolutely blow your mind. Captain Titus isn't your average space marine. In a universe where the average Imperial Guard soldier has a life expectancy measured in hours, this guy has been fighting for over 2 centuries. To put that in perspective, Titus has been in active combat for nearly 3 times longer than most of us will even be alive. The average human lifespan is 73 years. Titus has been dodging death for 200. But we're not just talking about longevity here. Space Marines are already engineered killing machines with reinforced skeletons that can withstand impacts that would turn regular bones to powder, multiple hearts pumping superhuman blood, and healing factors that would make comic book heroes jealous. These warriors can survive in the vacuum of space, shrug off radiation that would cook normal humans, and keep fighting with injuries that would instantly kill anyone else. Yet, even these superhuman warriors eventually fall to the countless horrors of their universe. Not Titus. This absolute madman has gone toe-to-toe with orc war bosses who could bench press tanks, survive direct exposure to chaos corruption that turned saints into demons, and walked away from battles that left entire companies of space marines as corpses. He fought in campaigns where casualty rates exceeded 90%, and somehow he's still here, still fighting, still defying every statistical probability of survival. What makes him truly terrifying isn't just his physical resilience, it's his unbreakable mental fortitude. The Imperium's Inquisition, basically their internal affairs department for rooting out heretics and traitors, spent over a century trying to find corruption in him. They used psychic interrogators who could read thoughts, torture techniques that make medieval methods look like spa treatments, and mind-breaking procedures that would drive most people insane within hours. They found nothing, zero, in a universe where exposure to chaos turns even the most faithful warriors into enemies of humanity. Titus maintained his sanity through experiences that would shatter anyone else. But here's where it gets really crazy. His most legendary feats aren't just about surviving, they're about thriving in situations that should be mathematically impossible to survive. And we're about to break down exactly how impossible they really are. The liberation of Graia was supposed to be a straightforward mission. Orcs had invaded an Imperial Forge world, and the Ultramarines were sent to clean house. Standard procedure, really. Drop in, eliminate the greenskin threat, secure the planet's vital manufacturing facilities. What they found instead was War Boss Grimskull, an orc so massive and brutal that he turned the entire planet into his personal gladiator arena, where might literally made right. Now, orcs in 40K aren't just big green guys with bad grammar and anger management issues. They're living weapons that literally grow stronger through combat, their bodies adapting and bulking up with every fight they win. Grimskull was the absolute pinnacle of this evolution, the size of a 3-story building, wearing armor cobbled together with tank holes and starship plating, wielding weapons that could level city blocks with a single swing. When Titus faced him in single combat, it was like watching someone fighting a walking natural disaster, armed with nothing but determination and a chainsword. The physics alone should have made this impossible. Grimskull's Warclaw strikes generated enough kinetic energy to punch through reinforced bunker walls. To survive even one hit, Titus would need bones denser than steel and muscles that could absorb impacts measured in tons of force. Space Marine bones are indeed reinforced with ceramic and adamantium compounds, making them roughly 50 times stronger than normal human bone. Their muscle fibers are layered with synthetic tissues that can contract with superhuman force. But even these enhancements shouldn't be enough to handle what Grimskull was dishing out. Real-world studies of extreme impact survival show that the human body can only withstand about 50 Gs of force before catastrophic internal damage occurs. Fighter pilots regularly experience 9 Gs during high-speed maneuvers and can briefly handle up to 12 before losing consciousness. Race car drivers in major crashes might experience 100 Gs for a fraction of a second, and those impacts are often fatal despite safety equipment. Titus was taking hits that register in the hundreds of Gs repeatedly and kept fighting like it was just another Tuesday. But Grimskull was just the warm-up act. During the same campaign, Nemroth, a chaos sorcerer who tapped directly into the warp itself. The warp in 40K is basically a parallel dimension made of pure psychic energy, raw emotion, and cosmic horror given form. Imagine someone hitting you with a nuclear explosion made of concentrated nightmares, pure madness, and a reality-warping energy, all rolled into one. Nemroth unleashed a warp blast that hit Titus's entire squad simultaneously. These weren't regular soldiers. They were space marines in power armor that can withstand direct tank hits. Every single one, except Titus, was instantly vaporized. Not wounded, not knocked unconscious, completely erased from existence. The same energy that obliterated his brothers left Titus standing, battered but alive. To understand how insane this is, consider tardigrades, microscopic creatures that can survive radiation doses 1,000 times higher than what kills humans. They do this through cryptobiosis, essentially shutting down and restarting their biological processes. Could Titus's enhanced biology work similarly? Space Marines have accelerated healing and cellular repair, but warp energy isn't just radiation. It attacks the mind and soul directly. Studies show that extreme psychological trauma literally changes brain structure. The hippocampus shrinks under prolonged stress, and most humans develop PTSD from far less intense experiences. Titus faced psychic assault that should have driven him instantly insane, and emerged mentally intact. This goes beyond any known biological defense mechanism. Titus's unusual resistance to chaos corruption caught the attention of Inquisitor Thrax, and this is where the story transitions from impossible to absolutely nightmarish. Suspected of being tainted by his exposure to warp energy, Titus was subjected to over a century of psychic interrogation and torture designed to break even the strongest Space Marine. Let me put that time frame in perspective. 100 years ago in our world, it was 1925. Television hadn't been invented yet. Antibiotics were barely understood, and most of the technology we take for granted today didn't exist. Titus endured continuous, systematic torture for longer than the entire span of modern technological development. This wasn't your garden variety interrogation with bright lights and uncomfortable chairs. Inquisition psychic interrogators possessed abilities that let them literally reach into someone's thoughts, twist memories like clay, and systematically tear apart identity from the inside out. They could force subjects to experience any pain imaginable, make them relive their worst fears in endless loops, or scramble their thoughts until they couldn't distinguish between reality and nightmare. Some techniques involved implanting false memories so realistic that victims would confess to crimes they never committed, just to make the mental anguish stop. Between torture sessions, Titus was kept in stasis, a form of suspended animation that preserved his physical body, but provided absolutely no mental healing or respite. Each time he was awakened, he faced the exact same cycle of interrogation and pain, with no sense of progress, hope, or potential for release. The stasis actually made the psychological impact worse because it prevented any natural adaptation or healing that might have helped him develop coping mechanisms. A full century of this treatment should have reduced Titus to a mindless, gibbering husk. Yet somehow, impossibly, he emerged with his sanity completely intact and zero evidence of chaos corruption. The Inquisition, despite having unlimited time, resources, and some of the most skilled interrogators in the galaxy, found absolutely nothing. He was eventually released and returned to active duty. But Titus wasn't done proving that he operates by different rules than everyone else. During the Fourth Tyrannic War on the world of Catacu, he faced an entirely different kind of nightmare, the Tyranids. These aren't just alien bugs, they're a hive-minded swarm of perfectly evolved killing machines that devour entire planets, consuming all organic matter and adapting their biology to counter any defense they encounter. The Tyranid assault on Catacu was particularly brutal because the planet's industrial infrastructure made it a strategic target. Titus led his company through wave after wave of creatures that had been specifically bioengineered by the hive mind to be the perfect predators for urban warfare. We're talking about organisms that could dissolve through steel with their acidic blood, creatures with razor-sharp claws that vibrated at frequencies designed to slice through marine armor, and living artillery that could fire bone spikes with the accuracy of guided missiles. The battle that nearly ended Titus involved multiple carnifexes, living tanks the size of city buses with bone armor thicker than steel plating and claws that could slice through ceramite like a hot knife through butter. These things weigh roughly 20 tons each and can charge at speeds approaching 35 miles per hour. The kinetic energy from a single carnifex impact equals approximately 50 tons of force. Imagine getting hit by a fully loaded freight train made entirely of razor blades and acidic nightmare fuel. The wounds Titus sustained would have been instantly fatal to anyone else. Tyranid bioweapons inject toxins that shut down nervous systems and dissolve organic matter at the cellular level. His injuries were so severe that even his enhanced healing couldn't keep up. This led to the most dangerous gamble of his entire career, the Rubicon Primaris. The Rubicon is a surgical procedure that transforms regular Space Marines into Primaris Marines, bigger, stronger, faster versions. The mortality rate is insanely high because it involves implanting entirely new organ systems while the subject is conscious. Many who attempt it simply die on the table. Titus not only survived, but emerged stronger than ever. The procedure involves adding 3 new organs, including the Magnificat, which enhances muscle density and bone strength beyond even normal Space Marine levels. The Belisarian Furnace acts as a secondary heart that can restart all biological functions, even after clinical death. These additions push Primaris Marines into superhuman territory that borders on the impossible. After analyzing everything Titus has survived, War Boss Grimskull's devastating attacks, direct warp energy exposure, a century of psychic torture, Tyranid bioweapons, and the Rubicon Primaris, we're looking at someone who operates outside normal biological rules. Science can explain some of it. Space Marine genetic enhancements, reinforced bones 50 times stronger than human, multiple redundant organs, and accelerated healing all contribute to his survival. Neuroplasticity might help explain his mental resilience, and his combat experience certainly built psychological tools for handling adversity. But add it all up, and the numbers still don't work. The forces he survived, the duration of his torture, and his resistance to corruption that breaks other Space Marines point to something beyond conventional explanation. Whether it's an unknown genetic advantage, unbreakable willpower, or something science can't measure, Titus represents a mystery even the 40K universe can't solve. Maybe that's what makes him so compelling. In a universe where everything has an explanation, Titus proves some mysteries can't be solved. He's walking proof that sometimes the most interesting characters are the ones who break every rule we think we understand. What do you think explains Captain Titus's incredible survival? Is it biology, pure mental fortitude, or something beyond science? Drop your theories in the comments, and if you want more deep dives into 40K's most legendary characters, smash that subscribe button. The grim darkness is full of impossible stories, and we're just getting started.